Thank you for clicking through and taking the initiative to grab my 4-point decision-making process. And just before I tell you what they are, I'd like to share with you that I've used this 4-point decision-making process to make decisions that might have cost me maybe hundreds of dollars, and I've used it to make decisions that have cost me $25,000. I've co-authored a book, I've created programs, I've done all sorts of great things in my life because I use this 4-point process, and it has made the world of difference for me because I'm no longer sitting in indecision and ambivalence and not moving ahead. Because even God can't steer a parked car. So if you've ever heard that saying, then you must move ahead. You must do something, make a decision, and move ahead. And even indecision is a decision. That is also an issue and a problem in our world today, that there's lots of indecision. All right, so the first point of the 4-point decision-making process is this. Do I want to be, do, or have this? And I know it sounds very simple, but you have to ask yourself, do I want this at a deep level? Do you want it? Is it something that's going to inspire you? Is it something that you're going to look back at the end of your life and say, I'm glad I did that? Because that's what's going to really matter. If it's just a wish or if it's just an interest, it won't be as impactful, and you won't really do it, and it won't be inspirational long term. It won't be something that you think back on. All right. Point number 2 and question number 2 is this. Will being, doing, or having this move me in the direction of my goal? And you have to ask yourself that, because we all have goals, and whether it's relationship related, or if it's money, or it has something to do with your health, then it should be focused on getting you something or getting you closer to those goals somehow or another. Relationships, health, income, those are the primary ones. So think about it for a moment. Is your decision going to move you in the direction of your goal? Question number 3. Is being, doing, or having this in harmony with God's laws or the laws of the universe? So let's say, for example, we know there's a universal law of gravity. Well, if you're creating something, if you're creating a new product or something that's going to defy gravity, well, then you better make sure that it's designed properly and tested without humans involved until you can get it right. So that's just one of the universal laws of gravity. There's lots of other ones. Law of polarity, law of compensation. There are numerous laws in the universe that we have to abide by, and if it's going to be in harmony with that, then great, and if not, then you might want to do some testing and get some reassurance that it's not going to go against those laws. And question number 4, will being, doing, or having this violate the rights of others? And this is a critical question because it comes from the point of intention. So if your intentions are not pure, if your intentions are not for the good of others, then this is all going to fall apart. It's definitely not going to give you any sort of sense of satisfaction. It's not going to spread goodwill. It's not going to have longevity to it. There's not going to be no gratitude. If it violates somebody else's rights, it's going to cut off gratitude from them. It's going to cut off praise. It's going to send out a negative vibration. It's low frequency, low vibration. So those are the 4 questions that you need to ask. And then all that you need to do is ask this question. If the answer to the first 3 questions is yes, and the answer to the last question is a no, make a decision and get moving. So that's it. Make a decision and get moving. And whether you make a bad decision or a good decision, you will find out. And in fact, I've used this process to make decisions, and even though it wasn't a right decision at the moment, it stopped me. I was stopped by something, and I was able to get on the right path afterwards. I just made a decision, though. I asked myself the questions, made a choice, moved ahead, and then I realized or found out somehow or another that this wasn't right, and then I went on to the right path. And I'll give you a perfect example. I made a decision years ago to do a business that I practiced and I learned, and I did it for 6 months straight. 6 months of working in this business, and it was miserable. I was so unhappy, but what it did was this. It led me to somebody that I would have never have met in another city, in another time, 6 months down the road. And that individual set me on the path that I am now. That conversation was with a guy named Dave Blanchard. He's the CEO of Augmendino, which is an organization that has great books and trainings about sales and also personal development. And Og Mandino was the editor of Success Magazine, so it led to a meeting with Dave. And not only a meeting with Dave, Dave invited me to stay at his house, and he didn't even know me. We had met through email. But that was one decision. Building that business, trying to build that business for 6 months led me to Dave, and then from Dave it led me to Bob Proctor. I learned and studied under Bob Proctor, got certified with him, and from then on I've been building and creating my business. And that one decision to move ahead 6 months on a path that was kind of, seemed like it was pointless, was well worth it. So here's the thing. If you're making a decision today or any time in your life, make it quick. And the reason why I'm saying this is because if you make it slow, that's ambivalence, that's indecision, and it can create a chronic path and a chronic way of making decisions. And that will only keep reproducing and recreating itself, because you've probably heard this before, how we do anything is how we do everything. So if we are indecisive and ambivalent about things, then guess what? That's how our life is moving ahead. And oftentimes we miss opportunities, we make poor decisions, bad things happen, and we are unhappy about it. And we look back and regret sometimes, and maybe we feel guilty, and those are just negative, low-frequency emotions. So making decisions is really a critical factor to moving ahead in life and business and everything. So if you're taking this in, put it into practice, do it today. If you're making decisions now, do it as often as you can. Just go through this practice and really just step ahead and go for what you want, knowing that whatever you're going to do and whatever decision you're going to make is going to take you on the path that you need to go on. All right, so I hope this was very valuable for you. If it has been, I would love for comment back. I'd love to, some feedback. I'd love to hear how this is working for you. Maybe the decisions you made, just please share that with me and let me know how that's working for you. And because I think that, if you do, we can share this with the world, and the world can be a better place, and we can all make better decisions. All right, thanks again for listening, and God bless.